Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here to bring you a real life weeknight dinner prep video, and just so you can see how we cook a few things. And you know, we eat actually pretty simply, and I'll just bring you along with what we're doing. So far the plan is to have quinoa with riced cauliflower and tofu, little tofu squares, like baked tofu squares, which my family absolutely loves. And every single time I make it, I try to make what I think is a huge amount, and it all just disappears so fast. I can't keep it. But anyway, that's, I guess, a good problem to have. But anyway, I'll just bring you along and show you exactly what, you know, a healthy, plant-based, veggie, heavy meal looks like. So come on. Okay, so first off, we're going to get tofu in the oven because tofu takes kind of a really long time to bake, usually about 40 minutes. I just wanted to show my ultra super high-tech tofu pressing apparatus here. So basically, I just get a baking pan and weight it a little bit on top of tofu. And ideally, it would press for anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. I think at this point it's been about a half hour, so that's also, it's good enough, like it still works. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cubed up and flavored in the oven. The oven has actually been preheating while this has been pressing. So anyway, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so this is the sprouted organic tofu from Trader Joe's, and I use 2 packs. So I tend to, because I'm aiming for kind of roughly like between a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch squares. It ends up being uneven, or like an odd number of cuts, like thirds, and then fifths. But it doesn't always work that way. And I just like using sprouted organic tofu, always organic, because you do not want GMO soy, but I like the sprouted because a lot of times it can be easier on digestion for a lot of people. So I've had some people who say, oh, I can't eat tofu because it's it like upsets their digestion. And using sprouted tofu a lot of times is better. And then also, just so that you can see the other handy thing about using the baking dish to press the tofu is that you can now use the baking dish for your flavorings. And so that's what we're getting ready to do now. Okay, so I'm basically just using liquid aminos. You can use a low sodium tamari if you want, or soy sauce, whatever you want, and nutritional yeast. So basically, I don't have measurements here. I wish I did, but I don't, and it turns out fine. I just sort of try to give a nice amount. So that's one of the things with the pressing of the tofu, in case you're not very familiar with the tofu. You press it and then it releases all of it, whatever liquid is inside of it, and then it will very readily take the liquid that you want to be in it. So this is going to be very well flavored now with the liquid aminos. And if I had to put an amount, I would say that was like 3 tablespoons to 1/4 cup for 2, I think it's 15.5 ounce packages. And so basically I just stir this a little bit and it's gonna soak up pretty well. And then I give, you know, quite a lot of nooch, so probably at least 1/4 cup of nooch, if not a little more. So this is gonna actually kind of soak up some of the liquid that's left and just create this absolutely delicious coating on it. And I think that this is actually how it turns out so good, even though you don't even use any oil. You just make a delicious thing that is oil-free. So yeah, that's the other thing, is we're oil-free in our house, almost entirely. At least for our main cooking. Like occasionally we have a thing of popcorn, but mostly we are oil-free. So now this is pretty well coated. I actually might give it just a little more nutritional yeast just because it's so good. It's so wonderful. But at this point, now we could go ahead and start transferring it over to the baking dish. I'm not going to make you watch that because it will take absolutely forever. But basically, we'll start putting it over on the baking dish and get them lined up well. And then this is kind of one of the most painstaking parts of this entire thing. But you're gonna need to not leave very much space. And yeah, we're cooking on parchment paper to keep it from sticking. So I think that's it. All right, here they are. You lay them out basically until it starts feeling like a cruel joke of some kind, but you just have to do it. And now these are gonna go into the preheated 425 degree oven for at least 25 minutes for the first part. Then the next part is the real cruel joke. You get to flip them all over and then put them back in for another 20 minutes. So this is definitely not like this, like, well, okay, it is simple, but it is definitely fiddly and a little time consuming. Or it's not fiddly, it's just time consuming. But the results are so incredible. So this is one of those things that I do because it is worth the time and the effort. And then the looks on my family's faces when they eat it is enough thanks for me. So anyway, I'm going to get this into the oven for the first part of its bake and take you back now to show you exactly how I'm going to make my riced cauliflower and quinoa. All right, so I have already put quinoa and water into the pan and turned the heat up to start boiling. So the goal really is to get the quinoa boiling at the appropriate time on the timer. So hopefully by the time the timer is at 20 minutes, the quinoa and the cauliflower both will be boiling in the pot. So that's like the holy grail thing to do to try to time everything exactly right. But anyway, so really this is how I deconstruct my cauliflower. You see, I just take off those big leaves. I don't know if people need an instructional on how to cut cauliflower, but I guess just in case, this is how I do it. And then I just sort of use the knife to cut out this core piece. And I also, gosh, I just realized that I'm not on the right side. I've got my wonderful son, Elliot, filming for me. So show some love for Elliot down in the comments, because this is how he gets to use up his weeknight. So I cut out a little bit because that core is mostly editable. So basically you just sort of do like a quick chop, because we're doing a wet chop. We're ricing this cauliflower so that it will blend beautifully into the quinoa. This is practically my favorite way on earth to do cauliflower. And so basically I do half a head at a time. And actually, could you go ahead and hit the pause? All right, and so to show you from the other side, I just sort of cut out that core piece, and then this is like the pile for the compost. And then we just kind of cut that up and cut out this core piece, and that's compost. And now just sort of chop it up into slightly smaller pieces. When they're too big, the blender has a hard time getting them all in. So I just sort of chop them up a bit. And then that goes into the blender, and I guess I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up with water. So go ahead and hit the pause. All right, so now it's been filled up with water. I'm gonna put it on the #1 because the Vitamix is great because and I'm not sponsored by Vitamix. Oh my gosh, I wish, right? But anyway, it turns very slowly, like even slower than a slow food processor. So I really love this as the method. So as at a #1, I'll just start it. And it's gonna chop it up without blending it completely. And I'm sorry, I hope you can hear me. All right, that should be about enough. You see how fast that is? And then I'm just gonna strain it. So let's go ahead. Okay, and now I have the riced cauliflower, and I actually forgot that there is some stalk from a Napa cabbage that I also decided to rice up. So that's funny, that's also in there. But anyway, that's just gonna go in now. And that's the first half of the riced cauliflower. And I will go ahead and do the second half exactly the same as I did the first half. And the quinoa, there's 3 cups of quinoa in here and 6 cups of water waiting to boil. All right, so the second half of the cauliflower is in the pot, and it's such a huge amount of cauliflower. And that's kind of the point, is for there to be a ton of veggies without it necessarily seeming like there's tons of veggies. And obviously I have kids, so there they are. But I like to add a vinegar, and my ideal one is rice vinegar. It just adds a certain brightness and yumminess. But I don't have any more rice vinegar, and the one I'm making is not ready yet. So I'm going to use some white wine vinegar and just throw in like probably a tablespoon or 2. And then that's just going to make it come together. And when it's done, it'll be just a little extra brighter and just a little extra nicer. You're not necessarily going to taste vinegar, but you're going to taste just a yumminess that wouldn't have been there if you didn't add the vinegar. Okay, so this is a true boil. So sometimes it's tricksy where, because it's so thick, you'll get like a bloom, bloom, and you think it's boiling, but it's not. And then if you put the cover on at that point, it won't get fully cooked. So you wait for it to be a true boil. With quinoa, especially, this is just kind of a thing that you have to know. And then you can turn the heat down usually to about a 2 or 3, or 2, like a very low heat. And go ahead and put the lid on and give it 20 minutes, and then you'll have your quinoa. Adam is home. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
How was work?
It was work?
It was work. This is what it's like talking to him. Okay.
Totally amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing for sure. Look at my hair. You get to come home to me looking like this.
Super sexy.
Okay, so guess what we're having for dinner?
Pizza.
No.
You told me to guess.
Is that what you want?
No, I didn't
Okay.
say what do you want for dinner. I said, you said guess.
Well, anyway, I'm doing, well, there's just like, you saw the quinoa already. It's like
Yes.
quinoa and cauliflower. But I'm making baked tofu.
Nice.
Yay! See, they love it. That's why I do it. Right, because it's like fiddly and annoying. But Adam is home, so he can help me flip them. Is that good?
Yes.
Flip it?
Flip it good.
Okay. Okay, the first bake has happened, and they're already pretty nice. Like, they would be pretty yummy even just as they are, but we'll just do like a quick flip of each one. And then they will just be that much more yummy. So anyway, we'll go back in for another 15 or 20 minutes now, like once they go through this initial flip. Okay, Adam had a brilliant idea. These
are hot and flipping them is annoying. So I thought, what if we use our exactly the same size pan with a piece of parchment paper and sandwich the whole mess, and then just flip it over onto the other pan.
Oh my gosh.
And,
if this works, I'm gonna kiss you.
That was a bit hot. I'm gonna go ahead and do that thing.
Oh my gosh.
Just gonna make the process a little bit more tricky. I'm gonna go this way because hopefully the edge of the pan will hold it all together.
Oh man. Now pick up, yeah, that one's hot. Okay.
I'm a genius!
Oh, you are! Oh my gosh, look at you. Okay, so maybe a couple are out of place, but look, this is, actually, I feel like we need to grab the parchment paper, because I think that this is the only brand of parchment paper this would work with. It is the, oh yeah, we're gonna need 2 hands to pull that back. This is, if you have issues with oil-free baking, this is your brand, if you care, because they apparently care. They make a parchment paper that actually doesn't stick to stuff. I have so many parchment papers I have used so many parchment papers in the past that just were awful and stuck to absolutely everything. And this is the only brand I have ever found that doesn't do that. Oh my gosh, honey. Here, I'll like shift it a little? Can I or not? Oh, I don't need to. Oh my gosh. Okay. That is the most amazing thing ever. So yeah, use this brand. This is the brand that doesn't stick. They make muffin cups and everything too. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so I have one final step for me. So this is kind of the awesome part. So even though stuff is takes a while, like the tofu especially, although it's a lot easier now, I can't believe. I just, I love that man. But anyway, even though it takes kind of a long time to bake or whatever, most of what's going on is actually hands-off time. If you notice, like, it really wasn't that much hands-on time for the actual prep of the food. There's just like a lot of these really nice stretches of just kind of waiting. So that's really great. And so the final step, just kind of for me, is I'm going to cut up a cucumber to put into my bowl to just have to increase the vegetable content of my meal. So following kind of I guess I'll talk about it at some point, like more of a McDougall maximum weight loss program, style of eating, and then also getting a little closer to the Eat to Live program by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And I can talk about those more, at another time, because I am working on losing weight right now, and the rest of my family is not. Like, they don't need to. So they're going to be eating a lot more of the quinoa, even though it does have some veggies in it. And then they'll have a lot more of that tofu than I do. I also have some cooked pinto beans. So I will have a little bit of the tofu, even though I'm not supposed to be eating the tofu, but I'm going to have a little bit because it has a higher fat content. So anyway, I'd have to like go into all of that at some point eventually. But I am going to go ahead and chop this up and add this entire cucumber to my bowl personally, to sort of make it closer to one of those programs. And yeah, I guess that's the last thing I'm gonna do to like work for this dinner. So it's actually pretty easy, like just a tiny bit fiddly, but I think still it's a lot less time than a lot of people spend cooking. So I feel like it's just super easy. So anyway, hopefully it seems easy and it gives you some really good helpful ideas. So I'll bring it out, and like the next time you see me, I will show you serving up and then dressing the bowls, so you see like what we do to flavor everything even more. All right, I don't know if you need any footage of me cutting the cucumber, but just in case you're an absolute veggie beginner, I take the cucumber and I cut off both ends, and then I take that piece and cut it into thirds. Then that's what they look like, little thirds. Then each one of those gets cut into quarters, just vertically. And then each one of those gets laid down and then like split one half at a time, cut like another set of quarters. And then it gets cut boom, 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 boom into little cubes. And that is how I make my cucumber. And I just put it in my bowl then after that. And now Sage wants to help cut the cucumber.
Need help.
What?
Need help.
You need help or you want to help? Okay, we're gonna let you help. Nice, good job. You'll cut all these, like the inner pieces with the seeds are softer and easier to cut, so she's cutting those. You gonna cut a whole stick, or do you just wanna like cut one at a time? Yeah, that one's good. Cut one at a time. Good. Here. There you go. You kind of do a rocking motion. Yeah, I know you will do it. Just trying to show you exactly. We'll work on proper knife grip later. Good job. Good job, baby. Yay, Sage. Okay, so yeah, that was another about 20 minutes, and I'm just gonna say watch out because one thing I didn't know, obviously, because we've never done it before, with this fresh parchment paper that isn't all wrinkly from being wet, these guys were like sliding majorly as I was pulling this out of the oven, so be on the lookout for that. But seriously, this tastes like exactly like a crispy chicken. Like, it's just so tender and so good. It's almost like a little like Chick-fil-A chicken nugget, really, is what this reminds me of the most. And I think I've been vegan now for like 3.5 years, or a little, no, less than that, just like over 3 years. So I totally remember what Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets taste like, and that is like this right here. So anyway, I guess that's it. So these are ready, and then I will show you how I build the bowls. What? You want to eat it? You want to eat the tofu? This is so yummy. It is so yummy. Oh my gosh. Everything is a mess. Okay. It's okay.
Yummy.
Yeah, yummy. It really is. Okay. And now, like, another thing, I just keep seeing things to show you. This is one of my favorite things ever. I think it's a frying basket technically, but I've basically always used it as like a handheld strainer. So I fished my beans out of my Instant Pot and went and gave them a rinse. Sage is playing with my light. But anyway, just go give them a quick rinse, and then you have beans or whatever to add to your meal. It's one of my absolute favorite tools. I think I picked it up at a local Asian market. But anyway. All right, here are my guys' meals. Currently, one of them is not home. And then here's mine. So I just wanted to show quickly what we do. So I have homemade sauerkraut. So we get, you know, pretty healthy, big helping sauerkraut at most meals. And I guess pretty soon this is going to switch to kimchi. If you watched some of my other videos, you saw the kimchi. And then also this is homemade soy yogurt, and it's very thin because I don't put any thickeners in it, but it is still a fermented product. So it's like just more yummy. Oh shoot, I should put that on the cucumbers. It's just more yummy probiotic. And then our dulse, which is natural iodine, because we don't use any like iodized salt, which is where most people get their iodine. So that's one of those things too where people are like, oh, it's a deficient vegan diet, you know, because you can't get iodine. It's like, no, most people get it from salt. They're not eating seaweed and fish, you know, getting iodine. So anyway, oh, Sage was helping. I brought out more veggies to help, for her to help cut, because she wanted to cut more. So I'm gonna throw those in my bowl. But anyway, that's basically how it works. So it was like half of my bowl is cucumber, and then the other half is the quinoa and cauliflower. And then obviously some of the sauerkraut, iodine, not the iodine, the dulse. And this is, you know, very salty and flavorful. And then the yogurt itself has a little bit of a sour flavor. And then of course the sauerkraut is very salty, so that gets all mixed up. Oh, and yeah, I had pulled extra beans out. But yeah, this is what we are eating tonight. And so, oh yeah, the guys, I put extra hemp seed on top because that's just the extra omega-3s and healthy fat. But for me personally, I'm currently avoiding a lot of fat. And again, I'll have to talk about that in another video or something. It's not, I'm not being paranoid. Obviously I'm having, soy is naturally very high in fat. And so there's still plenty of fat in these foods, but I'm trying to avoid added fats. And this is also the answer to anybody who hears we're oil free and then they're like, oh my gosh, but you need fat to like absorb nutrients and stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, you can use whole food forms of fat, like hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds and all of that. Oh, pumpkin seeds. I should put pumpkin seeds on their bowls too. I'm gonna go do that. But I think we're just gonna flip you around and be super, I don't know, technical about this, because like we're ready to eat at this point. But yeah, it's a little later than normal just because I've been filming, so it's been taking longer. So my guys are hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead and go do that. Sage has already eaten a giant pile of that tofu, and I need to see if I can get her to eat some of this quinoa. So that is actually another reason that I riced cauliflower and put it in the quinoa, because then it's a little bit hidden and then she's consuming vegetables without realizing that she's consuming vegetables. But anyway, yeah, that's it. So I am gonna get pumpkin seeds and put it on their bowls. But other than that, yeah, I guess that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I feel like it might have been a bit chaotic, but hopefully it was just like incredibly helpful and showed you some ideas of how to cook some plant-based meal that might be good for you. And or, you know, good for your family. And then also I think it's kind of important to show meals where like I show you how I adapt the meal to, you know, different styles of eating, and it's not that difficult. So anyway, I guess that's all. So as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.